So welcome to the special meeting of the Richland Board of Directors. The purpose today is to review everything we've learned about the superintendent candidates that we have looked at and interviewed, and hopefully come to a conclusion and a decision. Thank you for joining. It's been a long process. It began in August when the board began looking for a search firm to help us. As we moved through the fall, we did select Mr. Hank Harris from Human Capital Enterprises to help us. We asked community and stakeholders for desired characteristics. And I want to thank everyone who gave input onto those desired characteristics. The board and the interview groups used them as a gauge to evaluate the superintendent candidates. The job was posted in early January and closed approximately 6 weeks later after a regional and national, and turns out to be an international search. We received about a little more than a couple dozen viable candidates. In later February, we worked with Mr. Harris and the board and looked at the various interviews and the letters of recommendation and all of the information we had on those candidates, and selected 6 candidates to interview in person here in Richland. 4 of those, after a full day of interview, 4 of those moved on and were selected for a second interview. In the meantime, board members and staff did site visits. Now, in reality, due to the current situation, the site visits were done electronically. Board members and staff and teachers and paras talked with dozens of people in the candidates' home districts, and I want to thank the administrators, teachers, and paras involved in those visits as well. Following those site visits, one of the candidates did receive another job offer, and we have 3 remaining candidates. Those candidates over the past week did a day-long series of interviews. That long day involved interviews with our teachers, our classified staff, senior administrators, principals and assistant principals, the board again, as well as community interviews. And again, I'd like to thank all of them, and especially members of the community, for being part of this process. After the community interviews, and we do have statistics that we had more than 100 people watching each one of those interviews, at least from YouTube, in addition to the other ways that they were able to be viewed. We had many, many written responses sharing your thoughts with the board as we move forward in this decision, and I want to thank you for that input as well. Lastly, thank you to all of the candidates. We had a very good pool of candidates from which to choose. The 3 remaining candidates are Mr. Mark Davidson, and Drs. Lexi Cunningham and Dr. Carol Meyer. So we are to the point now where it's time for a decision. So with that, I'm going to go to the board, and is there a motion for moving forward?
Mr. Jansen, I would like to make a motion. The motion is that the board enter into contract negotiations with Dr. Mark Davidson to be the next superintendent of the Richland School District.
I'd like to second it.
It's been moved and seconded. So we have a motion on the table, and we're going to go to discussion. First, Mrs. Cleary, happy birthday, and would you like to begin the discussion?
Hey, what luck. Okay, I would say, you know, after looking at all the candidates, I feel that Mr. Davidson, well, they all, I think he reflected our desired qualities that we were looking for in the first place. You kind of said that. I think one of the phone calls I was really taken by that I made was when someone, the first words out of their mouth when they were talking about Mr. Davidson was that he is the most inspirational leader he's ever known. I just think he Richland's a unique district. We have many engaged stakeholders in our community, and I think he's able and wants to work with all our stakeholders and listen to their ideas and comments. And for those reasons, I really see him as an excellent fit for our district. So.
Very good, thank you. Who would like to speak next?
I guess I can. It's hard when you can't see who's in the room. I agree with Mr. Donahoe. I will tell you this was a really hard decision for me. I was fortunate enough to be able to be very involved in each one of the site inspections. I made phone calls. I spoke to a lot of different people. I believe that each one of the candidates that we interviewed have very strong characteristics that they could bring. However, given the current situation and the direction and the characteristics and the position that the district is in right now, I am also in agreement that Mark Davidson would be a great fit as superintendent for Richland School District. And I wish the other candidates all the best in their future endeavors as well.
Thank you. Kari, would you like to go next? Mrs. Williams?
Yes, so I echo both Heather and Jill's and Rick's comments that they've already made. This process has been such a great learning experience for me. We have been very thorough, and I am so grateful for all of the stakeholders that were so willing to just step up and help us do research on each of these candidates. And I'm so grateful for each of the candidates who also had people within their districts and their communities that were so willing to learn this technology to be able to speak to us so that we could make an informed decision. And having done as much research as we did, I feel very comfortable in extending this offer to Mark Davidson, as he really fits the bill of what we are looking for here in our community. And I'm excited for all the candidates that we were able to speak with. We had such a high caliber of applicants. I feel very lucky that we had such a high caliber of applicants. And I'm grateful that we found somebody that really could take us to the next level with our unique needs here in Richland.
Very good, thank you. Mr. Donahoe, any comments?
Yes, I agree with the other board members. It has been a thorough, professional, comprehensive process. I want the community to understand that while individually we may have made phone calls or been on joint Zoom meetings together with technology, that the five of us talk about these things together. We each bring our own perspectives, but it is not an individual decision. It comes down to an individual decision, but we do listen to each other, we hear, we discern, we take our time. This is not a quick, rash decision, anything like that. So while we've been a little bit challenged by not being able to, we have seen all the candidates, finalist candidates, face-to-face in interviews. We have done this via Zoom with appropriate technology, listening, hearing, watching, and discerning. And we have done this jointly while we also talk with each other. So I am very much in favor of Mr. Davison taking us on as the superintendent, and look forward to his passion, his inspiration, and the way he cares about kids. That's it.
Very good, thank you. So I'd like to round out the discussion then a little bit.
Hey, Rick, can they turn up the volume a little bit? We can't hardly hear you. You're like whispering.
I'm sure they can do that, and I probably am not talking loud enough. So what I'm hearing from the board echoes a lot of what I believe as well. What we heard from the community is that we are looking as a community for someone who is relationship oriented, committed to culture building and valuing all stakeholders. We're looking for someone who has served as a superintendent of a moderately sized school district or larger, someone who communicates well, someone who can build strong professional relationships with labor partners, someone experienced and known to be a highly intelligent individual who is knowledgeable about educational research and trends, yet still able to learn and incorporate learning from others, and someone who is inspirational. That's what we heard from the community, and I believe Mr. Davidson fits all of those. I think it's important to remember that we are asking him to lead an organization entrusted with what is most precious to us, our children. I loved hearing him talk about how he values students, and that's the reason why he comes to work every day. I loved hearing him talk about bringing families and teachers and paraprofessionals and administrators together and making decisions about those students. I'm impressed with his experience, his past success, and am looking forward to his future success here as well. So with that, unless there are other comments, I'm going to go to a roll call vote. Any further comments before I do that?
No.
All right, so I'm going to begin then with Mrs. Cleary. How do you vote?
Yes.
Mr. Donahoe, how do you vote?
Yes.
Mrs. Olson, how do you vote?
Yes.
Mrs. Williams, how do you vote?
Yes.
And I vote yes as well. The motion carries, and I am pleased to announce that we are entering into negotiations with Mr. Mark Davidson to be the next superintendent of the Richland School District. So with that, there is no further business here. I'd again like to thank the community and all of the people involved in the search. Again, thank the candidates for their willingness to engage with us in this process, and looking forward to many years of improvements and excellent education the Richland School District is known for. Thank you all for attending the meeting, and the meeting is adjourned.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Thank you.